On May 19, 2024, a 35-year-old named Shane Burke was taking a hike through the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. He brought his camera and was mainly there to photograph some owls. Grand Teton National Park is about 310,000 acres in size and contains mountainous fields, woodlands, and more. A little while into his hike, Shane spotted a grizzly bear cub standing about 50 to 70 yards away from him. Being familiar with the outdoors and Grand Teton in particular, he knew that spotting the small creature could mean impending danger. Bear cubs are typically accompanied by their mothers, who will savagely protect their offspring if any danger is sensed. Shane's fears quickly turned to reality when he saw a large adult grizzly bear charging towards him. Before he knew it, the creature had knocked the 35-year-old to the ground and commenced the attack. Shane previously heard that interlocking your hands behind your neck and laying on your stomach was the best defensive position you could have in this attack scenario. The bear bit, clawed, and repeatedly picked the man up off the ground and slammed him back down. One of Shane's many cries and screams seemed to have caught the creature's attention, which caused it to shift focus from attacking Shane's body to attacking his head. Although this would typically be the last place you'd want a grizzly bear to attack, it ended up being the best thing that could have happened. Moments before the attack, Shane was able to grab his canister of bear spray. The creature was on him so fast that he had to wrap his hands behind his neck while still holding the can of bear spray. When the grizzly bear turned its attention to Shane's head and went to take a bite, it accidentally punctured the canister of bear spray that was still in the 35-year-old's hand. The item exploded right into the animal's mouth, causing a loud and abrupt stop to the attack. Shane initially thought that the loud popping sound was due to the breaking of his skull. Fortunately, it was the bear spray, which caused the creature to run off into the forest. He later said that the burning presence of the spray was a relief, as it was a sign he was still alive. Shane, who is a disabled veteran in the Army Reserves, said that this was the most violent and horrifying moment he's ever gone through. Even though Shane is quoted saying, "I've experienced being shot at, mortared, and IED explosives." Although the bear had run off, he was still alone in an isolated part of the wilderness, with serious injuries. Shane decided to run up a nearby hill, where he called his wife. Fortunately for him, she was an EMT, so Shane was able to get immediate, life-saving advice over the phone, such as how to apply a tourniquet. Park rangers eventually located him and rendered some immediate aid. Shane recalls pleading with park officials to spare the bear's life, as it was a normal practice to euthanize those involved with attacks on humans. They decided it wasn't necessary to kill the bear and that they wouldn't pursue it. This was likely a result of Shane's emphasis on the mother grizzly only acting out of protection for her cub. Experts who later analyzed the story say that he did everything right when defending himself, including rolling onto his stomach and latching his hands behind his back. It was a minor miracle that the can of bear spray was interlocked in his hands, as the situation could have had a much more grim ending. In September of 2023, Jenny Gus and Doug Inglis, a longtime couple, were taking a hike in Banff National Park. Located in Alberta, Canada, this stretch of wilderness covers about 2,500 square miles. The majority of terrain is mostly mountainous and has lakes, rivers, high peaks, forests, and more. Jenny and Doug would come to Banff a few times per year and were regarded as experienced outdoorsmen. Knowing about the potential danger of being unprepared in the isolated wilderness, the couple carried an inReach device in order to stay in contact with Jenny's mother. The small handheld item is mainly a satellite communication tool, which allows individuals in remote areas to get a hold of the outside world. They also spoke with Doug's uncle using this device, and would send out regular updates. The couple were meticulous and careful people, with some attributing this to their careers. Jenny and Doug worked together in multiple research roles and also spent time in laboratories. They took their time outdoors as seriously as their agricultural research fields. Doug's uncle, Colin Inglis, received a message from the couple at about 5 p.m. on September 29, which said that they hit a delay, but that everything was okay. He assumed that the two of them made it to their campsite shortly afterwards. Doug and Jenny were camping in an extremely remote location of Banff National Park. Alongside them was their border collie named Triss. A few hours later, at about 8 p.m., Colin Inglis received a message from the couple's inReach device that read, "Bear attack, bad." Park rangers and other officials were automatically notified of the message when it went out as well. A team was set up to reach the location and recover Doug and Jenny. The vague message and lack of further communication painted a grim picture of what happened. A helicopter was dispatched but was quickly grounded due to poor flying conditions. As a result, a ground team was set out at approximately 10:30 p.m. and had to travel about 3 hours to Yaha Tinda Ranch, where they would then have to ditch their cars and switch over to ATVs. The remote location of the couple's campsite made it almost impossible to perform a quick rescue. Finally, at about 2 a.m., around 6 hours after the SOS message about the bear attack went out, the response team finally reached the couple. The Banff Wildlife Human Attack Response Team is made up of experienced and specially trained Parks Canada team members who respond to wildlife attacks that may occur within the park. All team members receive advanced training and certification in firearms and war techniques, including wildlife attack site investigation and forensics. It didn't take long for them to figure out what happened. Doug, Jenny, and their dog were all savagely mauled to death. Based on evidence at the campsite, officials believe that the attack began while the couple were in their tent. They were most likely reading and settling down for the night when the bear commenced the attack. Officials said that this was a somewhat rare ending to a bear attack due to how prepared Doug and Jenny were. A can of bear spray was also found near their bodies and had been completely emptied. The discovery showed that even though they were prepared and even used an entire canister of bear repellent, it was not enough to stop the attack. One of the deceased was found in the tent, while the other was found outside. This led to speculation that the person inside sent out an SOS message and stayed there, fighting till the end. Shortly after the response team assessed the situation, they spotted a large grizzly bear near the campsite. The creature was described as aggressive and apparently charged at the rescuers. With no other choice, they were forced to shoot the bear. The creature was not tagged or collared and was not known to the park rangers. It was later found out that it was a 25-year-old female grizzly bear. Although she seemed to be in good health, her teeth had major issues and her body fat was lower than normal. It's difficult to understand what exactly spurred this attack, but it is known that bears can be aggressive and unpredictable. One researcher believes that the bear was desperately trying to fatten up for winter and ran into a potential food source. This story goes to show that no matter how prepared you are in the wilderness, there are certain dangers that will prevail. The couple have been to Banff multiple times and also many other national parks. They used satellite communication multiple times per day and carried canisters of bear spray. At the end of the day, it was not enough to prevent this tragedy from occurring. Over the last 10 years, Banff National Park has seen 3 non-fatal bear attacks, with this story being the exception. All situations involved surprise encounters and no fault was found for anyone who was attacked. While the national park is home to both black bears and grizzly bears, the grizzlies are larger and more aggressive. A couple years ago in Banff, a group of about 13 hikers were followed by 2 brown bears for 20 minutes. Although no attack occurred, the larger of the 2 bears made multiple aggressive advances. Doug and Jenny prepared almost the best they could, but found themselves in an isolated part of the wilderness that was not their domain. It's like swimming in the Caribbean at nighttime or wandering into a Florida swamp. Once you put yourself far enough into their habitat, it's hard to come back out if an attack occurs. I don't blame Doug and Jenny for doing what they love. They knew the risks involved and did their best to prepare. But if that grizzly bear sees you as a meal and needs to quench its hunger, it's going to be a miracle to come out unscathed.